A mother scurries to greet her boy, but the reunion is stilted. The scar tissue of separation, heart-wrenchingly painful, difficult to break.
Me puse a llorar cuando lo vi, porque es el único hijo que tengo.
Beata Maria from Guatemala, her 7-year-old son Darwin, taken from her a month ago. She's applied for political asylum.
Miren la carita que tiene, está triste, pero vamos a estar juntos, nadie nos va a separar.
The U.S. Justice Department agreed to release the boy after his mother sued the government. Legal action paid for by a pro-immigrant organization. Her message to other parents separated from their kids?
Ellas pueden pelear lo mismo que yo. Tienen que luchar para salir de ahí y pelear por sus hijos. Uno tiene que ganar la batalla.
The battle at the border is playing out in courtrooms across the country ever since the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy went into effect.
The way the law works, the first-time offenders that cross our border illegally are guilty of a misdemeanor. Those that cross multiple times are guilty of a felony. The president said, stop making the distinctions. Please try to marshal your resources, and please arrest, catch, detain, and then prosecute everyone that crosses illegally.
2 days ago, President Trump issued an executive order essentially stopping family separation. A senior White House official tells the Associated Press around 500 children have been reunited since May, but there are more than 1,800 still waiting. Civil rights lawyers say today marked a first.
Today was the first day that we went in, and among the people being criminally prosecuted for the misdemeanor of illegal entry, there were no parents.
However, the president's order did not spell out just how to reunite those thousands of parents and children already in different detention facilities. Like the family of that little girl captured in that audio first obtained by ProPublica. On the tape, 6-year-old Allison Jimena Valencia Madrid from El Salvador, shown here with her mother, is heard begging a supervisor to call her aunt after she and her mom were separated. Wednesday, ProPublica was there listening as little Jimena called her aunt again, this time from inside a detention center.
¿Qué quieres hacer cuando vengas?
Primero quiero ir a bañarme, un baño muy calientito. Después quiero comer. Y después quiero ir a la tienda a comprar tofu.
Her aunt didn't want her face shown, afraid speaking out will affect her own asylum case.
¿Te han dicho algo de tu mamá ahí?
No.
It's been a week since Jimena and her mom crossed the border. ProPublica reporting the girl is now in a facility in Phoenix, more than 1,200 miles from her mother, who it says is being kept in Port Isabel, Texas. Her aunt says the mom was told she would be reunited with Jimena, but after filling out the paperwork, she hasn't heard anything else. However, for the first time since being separated, the mother and daughter did talk on the phone Thursday.
The fact that Jimena was able to memorize this phone number turned out to be a really lucky thing for her. Many of the kids who come to this country who are her age or below, don't know things like phone numbers. They don't know their parents' full names, but that phone number distinguished her from the rest of the group.
Those working closely on cases say a big part of the problem, 2 totally different government agencies handle these cases.
They should be able to put those children back with their parents just as fast as they took them away. There's no excuse for it, and they haven't provided one.
Adults captured at the border are prosecuted under the Department of Homeland Security. Children go to the Office of Refugee Resettlement, which is under Health and Human Services. El Paso Public Defender Eric Henshaw says answering parents' questions about their children is difficult and sometimes impossible.
How's my child going to take care of itself? Where is my child? Why don't you know the answers to these questions about my child? I've never in my job had to say I'm sorry and say I have no good explanation for why someone would think this is the right thing to do in our country.
There's a phone line set up for parents to track their children.
The idea here is to take the various children in the various facilities and to reunite them with their parents through a pretty simple phone-based system. At that point, though, we're going to have to develop a stable and sustainable system over time.
One thing the president's executive order does make clear, families may now be kept together, but still in detention, perhaps indefinitely.
There's an inherent contradiction here. The president has said zero tolerance policy. You're going to prosecute everyone who crosses the border illegally. You're also going to try to keep families together. Does that mean jail them all? You also have another court opinion that says you can't put children in certain kinds of detention facilities for longer than 20 days.
Indefinite detention of families is something critics and many Democratic politicians say is unacceptable.
Let's be clear about the executive order just signed the other day by President Trump. It doesn't end the zero tolerance policy. It doesn't stop criminalizing asylum seekers.
When you have people that show up that have no criminal history and a child, and you purposely put them into a criminal court to felonize them, to now turn them into a criminal on paper and rip their child away, that's a totally different picture.
Several groups of lawmakers spent today touring some of those detention facilities.
All the news media, I'm going to ask you all to please step off the property.
California Democratic Senator Kamala Harris spoke at a rally outside a facility near San Diego after visiting with migrant mothers inside who have been separated from their children.
These mothers have shared their stories, their personal stories that are a story of a human rights abuse being committed by the United States government.
Today, President Trump chose to shift focus away from families separated at the border.
These are the angel families.
Putting the spotlight on families whose loved ones were killed by undocumented criminals.
None of our kids had a minute to say goodbye. We weren't lucky enough to be separated for 5 days or 10 days. We're separated permanently.
Multiple studies show undocumented immigrants actually commit crimes at a lower rate than American citizens.
Many of the parents being criminally prosecuted under zero tolerance, their only crime was a misdemeanor of illegal entry. They're not violent criminals.
Earlier this week, President Trump went to Capitol Hill repeating his message that Congress needs to pass immigration reform, fund his wall, and solve family separations for good.
The immigration system, it's been a really bad system, probably the worst anywhere in the world. We're going to try and see if we can fix it.
But yesterday, House Republicans failed to pass a hardline immigration reform bill.
The yeas are 193 and the nays are 231.
Today, in an about-face, President Trump tweeted, Republicans should stop wasting their time on immigration until after we elect more senators and congressmen and women in November. While Washington struggles to find solutions, operations at the border keep churning. My colleague Marcus Moore was at this bus stop in southern Texas as a group of mothers arrive carrying their very young children.
And you can see they all have ankle monitors on. You may be able to see that as they walk into the bus station there.
The women we spoke with say they weren't separated from their kids, but they feared they would be. Instead, officials processed them and today released them. They are the fortunate ones, the relative few now free to stay with family or friends and wait for a ruling. The American dream is not yet theirs and may never be. And the ACLU plans to file new pleadings for the migrants over the weekend, and the government will submit a response on Wednesday.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.